This is Tiffadelic, and you are listening to When We See Each Other.
Hello, world. My name is Nikkiesha McLeod, and you're listening to When We See Each Other, presented by Stereoactive Media. When We See Each Other is a podcast that focuses on music and art by BIPOC, queer, trans, and non-binary artists, as well as artists I've met and known for some time. This episode, we're interviewing the self-proclaimed Princess of Darkness, the artist Tiffadelic. First, we'll play her darkwave and lyrically poignant song, I Tried, off of her album, Retrosynthesis. Then we'll jump right into the interview. Here we go. Hi, Tiff. Welcome to When We See Each Other. So happy to have you here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's so awesome to be here.
So it's really great to meet you. And then I wanted to first ask, what is your favorite season?
So I think my favorite season is definitely going to have to be fall. I'm not too keen on too much heat or too much cold because I am anemic. So I
Okay.
just like a balance, like in between.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you. I'm more of a summer person,
Mm.
but because it's just like I don't like the cold, and I think it's really just based on the fact that I am originally from a tropical island.
Oh, wow.
S Yeah, so but yeah, I totally hear you that fall is and then also when I think about it too, like I've been really talking to people about this,
Mhm.
about why they like fall, and it is, it is sort of like a time for building, building like a rebirthing of oneself and then also thinking about the future and then also like, creating it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like it's a renewal time for me. I also usually do feel like it's really that like it's just time for me to like really just put all the energy that I've been building up all year and then for some reason I just like work the best in like September, October.
So I usually start off talking. I usually give space for, um, to discuss what's happening in the world, particularly, in the United States. What is happening now, and how exactly have you been practicing hope? I know this year has been really hard for many of us, so I just wanted to know, like, what were some of your highlights, and what are some of the things that brought you joy, and how are you going to practice hope for the next 5 years?
I don't know, maybe people won't expect to hear this, but um really quitting my job is what brought me so much hope.
Oh my God,
Um,
awesome!
and it sounds crazy because it's like you need, stability, you need something, you need something to take care of, your bills and, to feed yourself. But I ended up quitting my job in May and I was thankful enough from my partner who they have a better position than I do right now because they were able to obtain a degree really fast in interior design. So, they've been, fortunate enough to find another company. So they work for 2 companies, so it was more like a sacrifice for us. So, quitting my job, like, it's like, yes, that income is gone, but I was able to become more creative, and then as soon as I quit my job, my music just skyrocketed online. So, I feel like that's, like, the one thing that's been really keeping me able to just, just stay hopeful, for the future, and, it's brought a lot of opportunities for me, and going into the next year, it's like, it's just, like, more elevation, basically.
Right, right, right. Wow. So when you quit your job, was it basically thinking, hey, I want to focus on my music?
It was really for the music. After a while, if I'm at a place for too long, I will start to feel, especially if it's not within my niche, I'll start to feel a lot of heavy depression or like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I not only do I mentally break down, I start to physically like break down where I cannot do it. So it affects my mental health really, really bad if I'm not staying true to myself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what happened. It came to a boil point, and I was very professional the way I ended up leaving the company. And I've actually heard from old coworkers they were like, leaving was like the best thing I could have done for myself. So I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah,
Yeah. No, if you have to do it, you have to do it, you know?
yeah,
Yeah. I just want to say, like, for me, your music really brought me a lot of hope and joy. I was just like, when I heard Tried, I was just like, "Oh my god, yes." I was just like, "Uh-huh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes." And so I just wanted to let you know that, it did bring a lot of joy to me, and we'll get into all of the nitty-gritty, all of the tea
yes.
around the album. But I first wanted to start off with some background. Um, I wanted to know, like, what inspired you to first start making music?
So I would say, I guess it's just kind of always been a part of me. Growing up, my family is very into music. A lot of them, like, they don't play instruments, but like my grandma is like really big into like Michael Jackson. Like, she's a Motown lady. My mom, very eclectic. She had me really young, so she played like a lot of like music. Me growing up in the '90s, and I mean, we'd go from playing Outkast to the Chemical Brothers to Jimi Hendrix to and that's really just where all that came from. It's like I always just was just like my ears were just pumped with just like musical like magic.
Yeah,
So it really just inspired me young to just start writing like poetry. That's really where it started. And then when I was able to join band in school and we got like fitted for our instruments in 5th grade, it's kind of just gone on from there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
awesome, amazing, and I can totally hear the influences, like, seriously, and I love that you brought up poetry because I found, like, all of your, songs on retrosynthesis to be very poetic, and we'll definitely get into that as well. So do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
I think it was probably some kind of like rap. Um, it may have I'm not too sure, but just very just silly stuff at first. And I used to do a lot of even though I don't play the drums really, I would just kind of like do these patterns with my hands on like the desk at school, or
Mhm.
I like to beatbox a lot when I was younger and make a lot of weird sounds. That
Yeah.
was my thing.
Oh my god. So do you remember, like, the first song you wrote? Like, what was it called?
I do remember one of the first songs I wrote on piano.
Ah,
It was called Stone Gone. Um, and I think it went along the words of stone gone like the birds from a flock. I don't remember all the lyrics, but I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere in a box because I don't
yeah,
throw out anything that I pretty much write.
yeah.
Um, but
As you
very
should
just
not.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, never wanna throw out that stuff.
Right, right.
But, yeah, it was, I think I got my first, like, keyboard when I was, like, 12 or something like that,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
So, did you go to school for music?
I did, and I still do.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so, yeah, I've pretty much been in, like, band in school since about 6th grade, and then in, college, I switched my major a couple times, and again, another place where it was like, I'm not being true to myself. Originally, I was supposed to, study behavioral science, and, I did for a while, and then I ended up just saying, like, "No, I need to just focus on music." So, I'm back studying music in school.
Where are you going to school?
Currently, I'm at OCC, in Michigan, Oakland, Community College.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you mentioned that you did mess around with the piano. Do you play the piano, or any other instruments?
I do. I can play. So I started off with a clarinet in school, bass clarinet,
Mhm.
ended up switching over to like euphonium baritone for marching band. And in between, I played keyboard slash piano. And then it wasn't until I was about like 19, I took like my first piano class at OCC. So, I have taken, like, private lessons in piano. I can play pretty much any woodwind instrument, even a brass instrument. Because once
No.
you learn one of them, you can really play them all as long as you can read, the notes. And now I can read treble and bass clef thanks to learning piano.
Okay.
So,
Wow,
yeah.
amazing, amazing. So, like, you mentioned that your family was instrumental in getting your foot wet in listening to music. I think you said that th they weren't musicians, but they were, enthusiasts of, music?
Yes, they all are actually. The interesting thing is, though, I didn't grow up with my father, but as I grew up, I learned that my dad has a musical background. He plays bass guitar. And then as I got older and got to know that side of the family, I have a cousin who's a cellist, and she has her own music group called Florella Strings in Detroit. And she's actually performed with some pretty big names like Big Sean. I know he's done like an orchestra thing. And then I have one of my cousins, Perry, he plays in the Detroit Lions drum line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so all the musical like people are on my dad's side, and then the enthusiasts are on my mom's side.
So you got the good mix. You got the listeners and then also the doers.
Exactly.
Oh my god. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So, what is your approach to and process of creating music?
So I guess I would say I'm usually like in a headspace when I wake up. I don't know what that's about, but when I wake up, sometimes I'll wake up with certain melodies in my head, or
Hmm.
I'll have an idea. And I think my peak time's around like 10 a.m. And I'll just kind of just sit at the computer and pretty much I use Logic Pro X. So I like to just kind of feel the energy in the moment. And I do a lot of humming and like making sounds with my out to just kind of like hear what's gonna, come out.
Yeah.
And I was trying to kind of just like play along with the chords like on my mini log. Sometimes I'll look at like key signatures if I'm feeling something, like if I really want to focus on a specific sound. But that's pretty much how I get started, unless there's something that's like really like something intense that's happened. Sometimes I will get this energy pop to just go right onto the computer, and it just comes out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so do you ever have those dreams where you're like you're mid it's somewhat like you are somewhat waking up, but you're in the middle of a dream and you're hearing music, and then when you wake up, you just like, "Oh my god, I have to write this down." Or
absolutely, absolutely. I've had that happen very often actually. And sometimes it gets a little overwhelming because I have to keep singing it as I'm waking up. And, like, sometimes, like, things will distract me, but I'm not trying to be, like, mean, but I'll just, like, ignore everything
right.
until I pull out my phone, I'm able to, like, record it or hop on the computer really quick and just simply, like, hear or, like, hear the melody in my head and just get that, like, down a little bit.
Yeah, because
So
for me, at least, I feel like I always have this fear that I'm gonna forget it.
mhm,
And that usually happens where I had the dream, I woke up, and then I didn't actually record it, and then it just leaves me.
yeah.
So
Yeah, if you just sit there long enough and don't, like, at least hum it on your phone or, like, a recording, it's gonna go away.
exactly, and then you're just like, "That was really good, but I don't remember what it was."
Exactly, yeah. Tragic.
So you released the album Retrosynthesis in September of this year. What inspired you to create this spellbinding of another world and universe album?
So some of these songs I've actually had for a couple years, and I think it was back in 2023. I decided I wanted this retro sounds. I always felt like a retro baby.
Mm,
My mom's a super big like 80s child, and
mm,
that was like really just a lot of my childhood, lots of 80s, even though I'm a 90s, like, baby. But,
yeah.
I really wanted something to match retro. I also have this, like, futuristic side of me,
Right.
so I wanted something that was like a rebirth of my retro side, which
Mm,
is why I named it Retro Synthesis,
mhm.
because I felt like it was, like the two worlds of my futurism and then my
Mm.
retro and then being reborn and together.
Right, right. Oh my god. So this totally relates. So I actually went up I did not know what retrosynthesis meant. And so I did a little research, basically Google.
Mhm.
And retrosynthesis is a strategy in organic chemistry to plan the synthesis of a complex molecule by working backward from the target molecule to simpler, more readily available starting materials. And that sounds like the very essence of what you were trying to achieve with this album. Wow.
Yes, it's almost like it's so weird because stuff will come to me and I looked it up, like, I'll think I'm making up a word, but then it ends up being, like, legit, and it's like, I already had that idea of what the definition was before I even knew what it was.
Yeah.
So it's, like, kind of spooky a little bit when you think of it like that, but it's almost it's just really just it aligned perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, and I just want to jump to the first track, which is the title of the album, Retrosynthesis.
Mhm.
And, I feel like that track in itself is a clear example of that journey that you're talking about, where you're combining the 2, and you're looking back, but you're also looking forward, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I so just humor me, right? I'm just gonna read the lyrics for Retrosynthesis because it was just, like, really so poetic and so powerful. So yeah, it's just like, it's not as hard as you have made it. It's not as hard as you have made it. It's not as hard as you have made it. Recycle life again and again. Look to the sun for life inside us. Oh my God, look to the sun for life inside us. Like, it's just so beautiful. Oh my God. You love to fight the life, you've made it. The life is inside you, you've made it. It's not as hard as you have made it. It's not as hard as you have made it. Oh my god. So, like, what inspired that lyrically?
Wow, I'm sorry I was getting, like, chills because you don't really, hear someone else reading your lyrics. But I will say what really inspired that, um, it really was my mom
Mm,
because she I think I mentioned she had me really young, she had me at 16,
hmm,
and it's almost like sometimes when you have, like, a lot of, like, family drama and you don't see hope for the future, you think that everything is negative and everybody is negative and things won't change and people aren't meant to change and think like, you just have, like, this negative mindset, so I took, like, the interpretation of basically what her life may have looked like at one time when things looked dark and there was no hope, and I
really?
took that and I basically turned it into something positive.
Yeah.
Because it was like, when you're, like, that young and, you have a child, and I just feel like just based off the circumstances of the situation, my mother unfortunately went through domestic violence and things, like, a lot of negative things happened, the around just me coming into this world.
Right.
So I feel like as someone like me who made it through that with my mother, um, it's like you can bring beauty and you can find the beauty. That's why I said like the sun is inside of you.
Yeah.
Look around, like this can be better than your circumstances of where you've come from, like that.
Right, right. Wow, and I love the fact that you turned something negative into something really positive. It just kinda reminds me a little bit about the whole fact that a lot of people would say that a lot of people will basically refrain themselves from listening to like goth music because they think it's too dark. And then, but the thing is, it's through that darkness that you actually see the light. You know what I mean?
Exactly. A lot of people unfortunately do think that, goth music's very dark because of the aesthetic around it,
Mhm.
but I've personally found uplifting moments in lyrics and
Mhm.
frequencies through lots of goth music, including even my own, which I've been questioned by some family members about my music possibly being dark before they've even like listened. And I've like invited them to listen to the album because I've been told that it was very uplifting and healing. And it's kind of like it's kind of like a way to, like, test people because it's like, they'll see this cover and they're like, "What is this? This is dark and this
Right.
looks weird," or they'll try to say something's demonic just
Yeah.
because it's dark, and then it's like they go and listen to this, next thing you know, they're, like, tearing up because they can't believe how healing it
Right. 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 It's so true, and it just goes back to, not to get too political, but it just goes back to our framing of darkness, as
Mhm.
being negative, when in fact it is very positive. You
Exactly.
know, so yeah, and honestly, I agree that this album is very healing. I feel it, and there's so much light in this darkness. It's just like, it's so beautiful. Another song that made me stop was, as I mentioned, was "Try." I try. It breeds like bittersweet nostalgia, and maybe even speak of a love changing,
Mhm.
and the idea of grief after losing. Um, Once again, I'm going to read the lyrics because they were just like, yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I tried to pour my love inside your hands and run away again. I tried to prove my love and make it fall with you. You can't love me anymore. You can't love like before. I'm slipping away, so far away, but far away with you. I tried to give my love and give my heart again to you. I tried to love you close and love you to the end. You put me on your back again. You make me run away from sin, taking the love outside of my heart into the chambers of friendship again. I trusted you with my life. I trusted you with my mind. That right there. I trusted you with my life. I trusted you with my mind. Oh my God. Like, wow. Like, wow. And then I tried to do what I tried to do when I tried to do what I tried. I tried to love you. I tried to love again and love to give the hand of love again. I try to love you close and love you till the end. I love you. I love you. I love you. And the musicality of that song is just like, wow, at the beginning where it's you hear like the thunder and then the rain coming down, and it's just so perfect. Wow, like what inspired that? What is behind this?
So, thank you, by the way, for, you know, commenting on that. This song was actually written on I don't wanna say on accident, but I guess it was just, like, what I felt, when, one of my best friends passed away.
Oh.
Um, he unfortunately passed away from liver failure due to alcoholism,
Hmm.
and he was someone I was friends with since I was 13. We had met online, like, just through having the same interest in Jimi Hendrix,
Hmm.
and he lived all the way in Alberta, Canada.
Mhm.
Um, I had only met him it's so crazy, I only met him one time in person,
Um,
but we had a very, very strong, very close connection, like, we'd be on the phone, like, on and off all day, on, like, video chat, all kinds of things, and, I at one point, we did used to date, but we just never, like, got back together because of, people grow up and life changes, and he had a lot of things that happened in his life, unfortunately, that didn't go too well for him, and then it followed up with him, passing away from alcoholism. So he was like my first love too. So I feel
Mm.
like this was like me pouring out everything I could because but right before he passed, a couple months before, we weren't on speaking terms, and not in a way where it was like, oh, we don't like each other, or we hated each other or anything like that. It was more of like a, we need to step back. Things are getting a little bit too intense and I need some, some space. And he was also getting into a new relationship and we didn't speak. So it was very odd that he passed away and we hadn't spoke. And it felt like, almost to me, like it just felt so unreal
Mm.
that we were on like a break kind of thing from each other, and I didn't really get to say goodbye. The only way I was able to say goodbye to him was because his aunt actually reached out to me and told me he was in an induced coma, and something told me, just tell her what to say to him through, because sometimes people can hear what you say in a coma.
Yeah.
um and she passed along my words to him, and she said that tears shed. So once I had got that information back, like, I pretty much started writing music because I knew when I didn't hear back from her for days that something terribly happened, and they were holding that information from me. So this song is, like, very, like, heavy to me, which is why I think so many people feel that grief and they feel
Yeah.
the heaviness
Yeah.
because it's a lot.
Yeah. 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 So basically, you really processed the loss of your friend, of that loved one, through this song.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think you achieved what you set out to do, even if it was unconsciously unintentional.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it really touched me, and after reading the words itself, it was so layered. Like the musicality, like I mentioned, was just like so powerful. And then when I read the lyrics, that just took it to another step, another level. Um, and yeah, wow, amazing. Um,
You.
then there is also the hypnotic track, Hypnosis, which reminded me of it actually reminded me of Radiohead's Mixomatosis, because it has the same sort of elements where it's, synth, and it has like this reoccurring sound, and
Mm.
which is making it very hypnotic. So yeah, so it reminded me of that. And then also I just wanted to know, I noticed that you reference German physician Franz Mesmer. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Um, because he's like, I guess, the innovator of hypnosis. And I wanted to know, like, what how does this song relate to retro synthesis, and what inspired that song too? It's just like, yeah, I get the idea of how hypnotic it is, um, especially the beat, and then also, like, the recurring sounds. So yeah, if you can talk a little bit more about that, that would be great.
Absolutely. So this one's fun. This one's really fun. Um, Hypnosis was actually written off of the episode of the Powerpuff Girls, the allusion when Blossom gets hypnotized by illusion.
Oh my god.
So literally from start to finish, the song is literally written off of that episode.
God.
I don't know why I decided to do this. It was in 2019, but
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I want to write a very psychological song about like this episode. And I love the aesthetic of it. It was just, I think I had saw a meme. That's what it was, of like of Blossom getting hypnotized. And then that's when I was just like, I'm writing this song. So I did some like research about who was like, in charge of like the, like you said, the guy finds Mesmer. I did a little bit of research about that, and I was like, okay, well, I need to implement this into the lyrics some way.
Mm, mm,
So that's what that song is about, and I guess the way it really relates to retro synthesis is because like Powerpuff Girls was like one of my favorite cartoons growing up, so it's
yeah,
like a retro part of me, and
right.
turned it into a really cool song that a lot of people like.
Yeah, totally. I love it. Like, I really do. I love all the songs, honestly. It was so hard to narrow down, well, which one. And that's the other thing too. We're so taught to like find our, well, it's not a bad thing to find your favorite, but then it's just like it can somewhat limit you in a sense when everything is just like really on par.
Mhm.
Like, and there's no comparison because it's just kinda like they bring something else. They bring something else. They exist in their own way. So you can't really say, well, you could say it, yes. You could say, "Yeah, this is my favorite," but what my point is just kind of like sometimes we get bogged down on finding a favorite when we just need to appreciate everything because it brings, its own, like, spirit, it brings its own personality, it brings its own kind of realizations. So what I'm basically saying is that it was really hard to, like, narrow things down because this album is just like all of the songs are just incredibly um intimate, um gentle, and there's a lot of love in there. There's a lot of hope. I'm just going to go back to what you were saying, it's definitely a healing album. So yeah. So I just wanted to jump ahead again. Um so what was your experience like moving through the process of creating this album? If you can give us a step by step on, how you create, well, you said that you basically wrote this over a couple of years. So this is like how many years have you been writing this?
I would say about 2 to 3.
Mm,
Because at first I didn't even know what I was gonna name it, and then
mhm,
I'm not gonna lie, the the set list for it changed so much. It
mm,
changed so much, and, as, things were kinda, like, picking up, I was like, "Okay, I gotta get my first album out, at least by September." So, I believe last year, around September, because I Tried was already basically written, and we had did the
mm.
music video over in Scotland. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we that's where we shot it in, Glasgow and in, Ayr, um, over in Scotland. But the song wasn't even done. Like, we just did it off my phone, off the demo, and,
Yeah.
we were just like, "Yeah, we have to get this." So, since then, I was like, "Okay, let's start piecing this album together." And then right
Mhm,
after that, I wrote "A Way Up," which is one of my favorite songs on there.
mm.
That's when I just started going from there and there, because Hypnosis had been out already, as a different version, but I was like, "You know what?" As time went on, I think it was about February this year, we were like, "We gotta make this more like." No, it was actually before that, because we performed it in January. We just started, like, changing things, and we were like, "Okay, let's make Hypnosis sound more goth." And then we just kept going from there, and I just kept making more songs, and then I wrote, like, Abuso in, like, February area, and then just
Mm.
on from there, songs were being written, and then around, I think it was, like, June, I found this guy named Steve Green of Battle Chamber Studio, and he was, like, the only person that I could find, like, in Detroit that could really bring that retro sound. He has, like, so much equipment that, like, really just, like, really, like, tones into, like, the sound that I'm trying to bring to life with that album, and, he also makes, a lot of his music reminds me of, like, John Carpenter. So I was like, "Okay, I really like these synth sounds, like, he's, like, the perfect guy to do this." So just started working with him, and we got it all recorded and out, in September.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So so I'm not to creep you out, but I've been reading a lot of your on your Instagram page,
Mhm.
like following you, and I saw on your IG where you talked about in college you were told how your voice was too low for a woman vocalist. Um, can you talk about that, and also how does your music connect to your identity?
So, I've been told I didn't really I don't really know how to say it, but with one of my professors, which I guess I won't mention their name, but, one of them I was starting to have, like, a hard time with that person, and it was almost like he was thinking I was bringing, like, this rock sound, like, to the school, and I was, like, trying to make my showcases into, like, these rock concerts, which I wasn't. I was just trying to do what I had to do, and I'm not like a jazz artist, I'm not like R&B, and it seems like
Mhm,
that's more to what they cater to there, which that's
mhm,
fine, I understand, but I guess I just really stood out a lot, and I would be told comments, like, in my ear trending class, like, basically, like, "Oh, Tiff's all the way down here with the fellas," or whatever, like, just stuff like that. I'd be told, like, "Tiff's got a weird voice," and it's like, how is it weird for a woman to sing? Like, because I guess most of the girls in the class would be singing, like, soprano, or they'd wanna, like, sing higher, but for me, I really struggle with singing higher. And not it's not that I can't do it because after taking vocal lessons, I can. I really just prefer. Um, I used to have a friend that did theater, and he loves singing high notes. We would sing songs together, just joking around, and every time I would take the low, he would take the high, and that's just how it would be, and we'd laugh so hard because it's like, here he is singing, like, Miss Hannigan's part, and I'm over here singing, like, Oliver Warplugs, like, when we're, like, just singing some song, whatever. So it's like, I've always been like that, and, like, just getting those type of compliments, just it kinda just felt, like, really rude, like, it's like, women can sing in lower pitches, right?
yes, exactly, right.
Yeah,
And why are we pigeonholing people into, what sound they should sound like based on, uh, a construction of gender?
exactly, exactly.
Um, it's just like, "Oh my god." Ha! Like, w yeah. We have a long way to go,
Yeah.
honestly. And honestly, have they heard of Michelle and Degacello?
I'm
Like,
pretty sure they've heard of, like
I mean, come on, y'all, please.
it's
Like,
just like they just I don't know what it is, maybe because 'cause I'm a student and people keep calling it tough love, but for me, it also if I wasn't that could have actually ate at me a certain way because at
mhm,
first I really was scared to bring out that voice, and then I was like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna just do it. I don't care, people are liking it." And I was scared at first because when I showed my friends, the song I tried,
mhm,
there was crickets. I don't know what it was. People were not paying attention. But then a year goes by and they're just like so intrigued by this song. I'm like, I don't get what changed. Like, and then
yeah,
now it's like one of my most popular songs. Honestly, I didn't see that coming because of
yeah,
the type of reaction I got at first. And then also just the reactions at school from me singing lower. It just,
mhm,
I honestly did not see this coming.
yeah, wow. Yeah, maybe people's, understanding is changing,
Yeah.
and yeah, wow. Well, I think your voice is beautiful,
Thank you.
honestly. And so, yeah, how does your songs, like, relate to your identity?
I would say, how do I answer that? I feel like each song is like a part of me that I really could not heal without making the song, if that makes sense.
Hmm,
So I just look at them as all like each like mini pieces of me. kind of like
Mhm.
me talking to myself almost, as
Mm.
if I was, if as if I was almost like it's like that internal monologue that you just, like, turn into, I guess, a song, really,
Mhm.
and,
Stream of consciousness, maybe?
yeah, I would say something along like that. That's
Mhm.
kinda how I, like an outer almost like you're looking in from outward type of thing.
Mhm.
But, yeah, that's how I'd say it belonged like that way, yeah.
So, what came first for you when creating retrosynthesis? I know you mentioned that, when you're creating, you sometimes will hear a melody and you go from there and you build from there. So, is that what happened with what retrosynthesis? You started hearing different melodies. I know for Try, you basically had that experience with your friend, so you may have started writing the lyrics first, and then maybe go from there. If you can just talk a little bit about your process around creating retrosynthesis, what came first, and how it just exploded into this beautiful masterpiece.
A lot of the songs on that album, they've actually I started with the music, just kinda come out just whatever chord progression I wanted to use. Everything I do usually starts with the synthesizer, whether I'm
Mhm.
playing the bass on there or if it's just straight up like, I know what I tried, it started with, like, um, really, like, easy chord progression. It was, like, really simple, 3 notes, um, with, like, a very short, like, arpeggiated type of thing going on. Um, but yeah, I just kind of, like, started with the melody, and that's when I start humming how I want the vocal melody to sound,
Mhm.
and, I'll start to I'll do, like, a rough draft with my microphone, and, sometimes it literally is just, like, mumbling, but for some reason, my brain can, like, translate the mumbling into an actual word when I hear it
Mm.
back,
Right.
and I'll write the lyrics out like that. So, that's pretty much how most of those songs were created. I remember specifically with the Abuso song,
Mm.
that song, started with me just picking a key, which was D minor, and I knew I wanted something, like, very like a vampire feel. So I just kinda went from there, and my friend Fever, I hit him up, and he added his, um his, like, dark wave techno, like, club sound to it, which, like, it
Uh,
just brought it exactly to where I wanted it to sound.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, wow,
I
awesome.
know for the song "A Way Up," I wrote a lot of the songs actually at my friend's house, at the time, where I would just be kind of feeling the energy in the room and playing,
Mhm,
like, really dark piano chords,
mhm,
and then it would just, like, basically end up translating into something else. So it just kinda progressed into, an actual song after sitting there for, like, 20 minutes, just kind of, like, feeling the energy of the place.
yeah,
Yeah,
wow. So would you say you're an empath?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Very, very much. Actually, sometimes almost too much.
yeah, yeah, I hear you. Wow, wow. So I'm gonna shift a little bit. Thinking about your influences, I know that Annie Lennox is one of your influences, and you also mentioned a couple of folks that were influences based on the music that your parents and your family used to listen to. But I just wanted to know, I'm curious to know which artists you get compared to the most and whether you appreciate those comparisons.
So I always appreciate any comparison, because I feel like I understand where people are coming from. You know, when you're like a music enthusiast, like you're gonna have like your own opinion and stuff, like whether someone agrees or not. But I do get compared a lot to Q Lazarus and Light Asylum.
Ah,
Those are the
Light
two I've been
Asylum.
yeah, I've been getting
Yes.
compared a lot.
Oh my god. Wow. Yes. I can see Light Asylum. I can see it. I can hear it.
Yeah, Shannon's an awesome person, by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh my god. So you've met her?
I did not meet Light Asylum in person, but I have seen them live, and it
Mhm.
is phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So also, is there anyone who influences your style and who influences you and that you think people would find surprising?
When it comes to style, I have, like, a lot of, influences, like, I really just there was this, like, magazine back, like, years ago, like, Dark Beauty, and I get, like, a lot of inspiration from, like, having, like, just, like, religious imagery, but, like, in a dark way. Um, I'm very influenced by, especially, like, Catholic or, like, Islamic, uh, fashion, and I see
Mhm.
it a lot now even till this day. I'll see like, there's this girl, I don't know, I forget her name, I think it's, like, Layla. She's, Somalian, Islamic, and she wears, like, the whole trad goth makeup, and, like,
Mhm.
the way she dresses up is, like, so just it's amazing, like, she does such a great job, her makeup is killer, the outfits are that she puts together is so good, like, the fact that she can wear, like, the hijab and make it into, like, a with, like, veil, like, basically, like, it just looks so great to me, so
Yeah.
that's really, like, kind of a little bit of the background with the fashion, and then also just I really like lace a lot. I've kinda grown into that, recently, in the past, like, I wanna say, like, 2 years. I've
Mhm.
always just, like, pretty much everything black and dark. I used to be really, really colorful, back, like, years ago, but
Mhm.
I ended up switching over because I was just like, I don't know, like, I just fit more into this, like, realm of, like, just, like, dark clothing. I like, simple dark clothing too, like, really big, long coats. I would say Asian streetwear is also another one of my influences,
Okay.
with fashion. I really do appreciate, um, a lot of the styles over in Asia in general.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So what about like influences in terms of like that would, people would be surprised in terms of music or any other art? Um what what sort of sounds do you listen to that someone would be like, "Ah, you listen to that?"
I would say okay, so definitely, I listen to a lot of Yellow Magic Orchestra, and, so there's a guy named Ryuichi Sakamoto, Japanese pianist, he that's one of his, like, I guess I would say one of his, like, side projects because he also did, solo music as well. But Yellow Magic Orchestra is like, electronic, what do I call, like, synth, like, popish version of, like, 80s sound, kinda like Kraftwerk, but less
Oh,
robotic, if
okay.
that makes sense,
Yeah.
and it's, like, straight up 80s Japanese, like, synth, like, it's incredible, so I listen to that a lot. I listen to a lot of, this band called Suicide, Alan Vega and, Martin Rev. Straight out of New York, it's synth punk, so
Mhm.
it's very, very simplistic minimalism.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, like, uh, monologue and, just, like, straightforward, like, you can only hear, like, sometimes 2 instruments in Alan Vega's voice.
Wow.
So, that's a lot of what I've been listening to over the past, like, couple years for influence, and, John Mouse as well, a lot of his older music,
Mm.
really influenced me to get into this style of this, like, minimalistic retro sound, and
Mm.
then his new album just blew me away. Very, very talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So how does your sound differ from other genre-related artists?
I would say it's a little bit more eclectic than a lot of the goth music that I hear,
Mhm.
because it's just like it just doesn't sound like to me like anything else. Like I have my like inspirations and influences, but like
Mhm.
to me it never sounds exactly like something. Um it just to me it gives like more of a eclectic, I guess, vibe to it. Where sometimes I don't even know what genre it may be.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely genre bending.
Yeah.
Like, it touches on so many different aspects. So yeah, I hear you. Um, so what got you into goth?
So it's weird because I've always been into the goth aesthetic,
Mhm.
but when I was like in eighth grade, I I was having a lot of like social issues. And I guess there was like some like problems at home, maybe because I was like, I just turned 14. You're kind of just like growing from there. Um, Straight out of that transformation from like elementary to middle school.
Yeah.
So I um I was really trying to find myself, and I was really all over the place just mentally with everything because I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's like, who am I? Like, what do I dress like? Because I was like trying to really dress like Jimi Hendrix a lot. Like I was like, am I
Right.
a hippie? Am I
Yeah.
this? Am I that? And then I also liked this like darker look. And
Mhm.
at first I wanted to be like dressing like more like an emo, but then I saw the goth look and I was like, well, this is really cool. But
Yeah.
then I didn't really have the knowledge or like I guess like the tools really to bring it to life all the way.
Mhm.
So I kind of just stripped back from all of that once I got to high school. I got made fun of really, really bad in ninth grade for
Mhm.
coming to school with like black skinny jeans and like some black shirt and wearing like these colorful clips across with like my afro. So like basically after they tried to clown me like that, I stripped everything and just had like this really basic like artsy my band director calls it an artsy schoolgirl look. Basically I look like that, and I was like, you know what, I want to go back to looking the way I always wanted to look, and here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, it's all about how it makes you feel and how comfortable it makes you feel.
Yeah.
You know, and it sounds like, this is what makes you really be yourself, right?
Yes.
And this is who you are, and you should be able to come into any room and bring all the parts of you into that room, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So what is the goth scene in Detroit like?
It's very small.
Mm,
I feel like there's more people who are like you don't know about them until you end up going to like Leland City Club
mm,
or maybe Smalls, or maybe like you'll see like a big band performing like Lebanon Hanover. And then that's when like everybody comes out, but you don't really see them a lot, or a lot of goth people don't really put together their like whole goth look until it's time for a show, because it is a lot of maintenance, a lot of work to always just have on like that heavy makeup and
mhm,
bring out all those clothes. Like some days you might find a goth person just literally wearing just all black and they just love goth music, but you wouldn't even know that they were goth until you may have like, gotten to know them or seen them like at a show. But the scene is very small, I would say, especially for goth music.
mhm,
We don't really have a lot of people within the niche actually.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so which do you prefer, studio work or performing live?
Well, that's a tough one. I I really like both. I guess I would say I prefer performing live, because that's where I'm charged. Like,
Mm,
I feel like that is like, especially when there's a big crowd, I am
mhm,
charged from a big audience, and now that I have a sound, it has become, like, more work than it used to be
mhm,
because I have t in the studio, when I'm recording, so it does get very draining quick, having to do a lot of takes and make sure things are perfect, so I would say performing is definitely more of my favorite. You can't really stop and turn around if you make a mistake. You kinda have to improvise off of
Yeah,
what you did.
right.
So, it's very authentic and genuine, and it's
Mhm,
not re-recorded and all this
mhm,
stuff, so.
mhm. And based on the photos I've seen of your shows, it seems like you put on a real show. So, are there any artists you would shout out?
Oh, absolutely. I would like to definitely shout out, um, Vic Vapors, actually,
Mm,
and, from Los Angeles, California.
mm,
He's a dark wave Hispanic artist, and he's also really inspirational. I've seen him pretty much take off, and I knew right away, like, last year, his music, I heard the sound, I'm like, "This guy's gonna blow up," and, like, ever since then, it's just been he's been climbing and climbing and climbing, he's doing an amazing job.
what's his name again?
Vic, Vick, Vapors.
Vapors, okay. I'll
Yeah,
definitely check him out.
yes.
Anyone else?
Let me think for a second. There's so many artists, by the way.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
I know Dolores Galore in New Orleans,
Mm,
another amazing artist. I did a collaboration with her over the summer.
mhm.
Somebody else I definitely would, definitely shout out. Trying to think. There's so many artists. Oh, Unity.
Unity.
My friend Unity, she is a hardcore artist,
Mhm,
and she's from Philadelphia, but she's, located in Cleveland right now.
mm,
Very hardworking. She also has dealt with people, um, with her voice because she screams, and there's a lot of emotion in her vocals, and, she's also a music student, and, she's dealt with all kinds of issues with just being a woman in that genre and racism and,
mm,
just overall in general, but really, really good hardworking artist for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I usually ask, folks, guests on the show, what books are they currently reading? So what books are you currently reading?
Currently, I've been reading maybe it might be boring to some people, but I've been reading, music copyright laws.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's really important.
Very much. I feel like I don't spend enough time doing research on it. I wanna know, how this stuff works,
Mhm,
because I don't wanna just trust someone telling me so. I feel like the best thing to do is just, read some books about it because you can Google stuff online, but I feel like you get more information from a book.
yeah.
So
And then also just knowing how to protect yourself.
exactly.
Alright, so we're nearing the end of our interview, and I just wanted you to shout out where, let the folks know where exactly they can find you.
You can find me on literally all social platforms at Tiffadelic, and all of the music streaming platforms, I am under Tiffadelic as well.
Okay,
Huh?
awesome. So it was so great to have you on the show, Tiff. I am so happy to have met you, and I'm so happy that I actually found your music because it's left an imprint on just like sonically, emotionally, and I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for future songs, future albums. And please keep in touch. So thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
So that was Princess of Darkness, Tiffadelic. Isn't she just effing brilliant? It was so spellbinding talking with her, which makes sense as her music is futuristic and engrossed in black magic. Definitely check out her album, Retrosynthesis. It's available on all streaming platforms and Bandcamp. So, we're gonna listen to one more song by Tiff called Hypnosis. Listen up. Thanks for listening to When We See Each Other. I'm your host, Nikkiesha McLeod. This show is produced and edited by Jeremiah McVay. If you like what you hear in the show, please rate and review it in Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that allows that. And please follow us wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. Doing so helps us to expand our audience and is much appreciated. You can find more information about this show at stereoactivemedia.com/whenweseeeachother. And you can get in touch with us at stereoactivemedia@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Instagram and TikTok under the handle WWSEO Pod. Talk to you later.
This podcast is produced by Stereoactive Media.